There you go.
You're on.
Okay, as soon as Mike gets it, did Dorothy get a copy of the package?
Sure, that would be wonderful.
Okay, we're online. We're powering up here now, everybody.
Okay, good coffee. Thank you.
Okay, so I am Bill Kanda, Custer County Board of Health Chairman. This is Wednesday, April the 3rd, 2024. It's 1:32 PM, not AM. And we're here for the Board of Health meeting. Silence your phone, Lucas.
Silenced.
Everybody
I know
silence their
about
phone.
yours, but.
I'm getting even with him for this morning. Everybody that has a phone, want to make sure it's on silent. And we do have both Zoom and the YouTube up and running. So I call this meeting to order. Let's stand for the pledge, and Peggy, would you lead us?
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, this is the first Board of Health meeting we've had with our new clerk for the Board of Health, who is our current PIO and BOCC admin. So Mike, would you read the roll call?
Yes, sir. Our roll call, Board of Health Chairman Bill Kanda,
Here.
member Kevin Day,
Here.
member Lucas Epp,
Present.
Board of Health Director Dr. Brown,
Present.
and Sanitarian Dorothy Karsten.
here.
Okay, and audience introductions, who do we have out there? So say your name so he can write her down.
Sarah Bertelson, public health nurse.
Spell Bertelson for him.
BERTELSEN.
Thank you.
Peggy Martin, public health. MARTIN.
You got it. Anybody online?
I learned.
Mr. Gilbert is online.
Okay, James Gilbert, for the record, is online. Okay, do we have any minutes? I don't think we do. Do we have any minutes, Dorothy, from
They were
last?
sent out quite a while ago.
Yeah, it's been a long time ago.
Yeah, I probably should have resent them.
There are copies provided today.
So let's, there weren't copies available?
They're in the packet.
They are,
Yes,
okay.
dated November 15th.
Yep. Sure.
Okay, so take a quick look at those. We had them the last time they were here, and they were good. Then it looks like they're the same minutes. And I'll look for a motion on these when somebody's ready.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the November 15, 2023 regular meeting of the Board of Health. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes, November 15th, 2023. Board of Health minutes. No other comments? Then take a vote on that. All approving the minutes as read. Say aye, Kevin.
Aye.
Lucas. And aye. Okay. And are there any amendments to the agenda? Anybody? Board of Health? None.
No, sir.
Okay, any comments from the Board of Health, any Board of Health items that you have? It's not on the agenda yet, it'll be on the next one,
Not at this time, but thank you. None for me.
okay, I don't have any. And Dr. Brown, do you have a comment before we start on any? This is not a report, just looking for something that may be of interest for next time maybe or something. It's not on the agenda.
Okay, great. Yeah, we have a number of events, community events upcoming, and we will touch on some of those as we go through. We're trying to involve the community as best we can for public awareness and protection of themselves.
Okay. And do we have anything from you, Mike?
Not at this time.
Okay. And in the interest of time now, we got the sanitarian reports up next.
I have two things that we were working on from a sanitarian standpoint. One, I have forwarded on to the attorney. The sheriff's department has been unable to locate the individual that we need to serve the papers to. So we're working with them to get that resolved and get it fulfilling.
You're muted.
Oh, we got it.
Now we're good.
Now we got it.
Found.
Got it.
All right, thank you, sir.
It was green and now it's not. All right, James, can you hear us?
Yes.
Dorothy, go ahead.
So I believe that this has been brought up multiple times. We were gonna get an address, specific address.
Okay,
I did have one individual come in and kind of show us on the computer where they thought it was. I drove out there. I'm not sure, I mean, to me, when you say homeless camp, I think of tents.
Yeah.
I don't see tents in the area that was pointed out to me. If I get a specific address, I will address it. What I do see in that area is multiple fifth wheels, campers, things like that.
that may be what they're.
At most two on one lot. So one of those lots sold, I do know, and, it is being cleaned up as we speak. That is an issue out there, and one of them I addressed and was told to back off, so I need to know. If you want me to continue to address that area, I will. We do not have a junk ordinance, that's a lot of the issue.
We don't have one.
There, a junk ordinance. There are barrels of who knows what, lots of them, and on two of different lots out there. That's a concern. I don't know what's in them barrels. Is it hazardous material? Are they empty? I would need the sheriff's deputy, to accompany me if we were to go out there and start.
Right, and that's a good point.
I have sent letters to at least 3 of those lots that are in question. So, and one of them, like I said, I was told to let them continue to live there. They're not connected to a septic. It's a concern.
Okay, so what we probably ought to do then is, I think I have the phone number of the person that had been talking with you. If I don't, I'll get it from you. It's getting to be time of year where you can get around a little easier, snow and everything. So I'll check with her, and then we need to come up with a plan on how to get you escorted out there, make the rounds with everybody, and and I'll deal with that with you.
I have no problem going out there and doing that.
Right,
I do want to make sure that I'm in a vehicle that will take me out there and
right.
that I have an escort. I have no problem doing
Yeah,
it.
that's
Like
what
I
we'll
said,
coordinate
but
that with the
I
sheriff.
also need to know if I go out there and I start addressing these issues, when it comes down to how are we gonna finalize this or close it out if they're not willing to follow the resolution, that you guys are gonna back me up on that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why the resolution is there that we
I
signed.
understand. Yep.
So,
If I may,
question.
I'm
Go ahead.
sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, sir. I'm gonna ask a question on the barrels. A lot of people collect a lot of barrels that are empty. I'm just wondering if if it's in the county's purview, because we see you stockpiling a lot of barrels, to go and arbitrarily say, we need to check those barrels. I don't know if we're overstepping when we do that.
And I didn't think that's what I was
Yeah.
gonna do. I'm kind of trying to describe the situation. There's,
Maybe other
you know,
trash or something is
a
around.
lot of trash, a lot of old vehicles, things that have been, maybe a trailer that was gutted and everything they gutted is out on the ground. It's a mess.
Yeah,
And
so,
like I said, we don't have a junk
Yeah.
ordinance, so what do we consider being, where's the point where that?
well, right now,
Hazardous.
where it is right now would be your assessment of whether there's hazardous material oozing on the ground or whether they're pooping on the ground or whatever's going on out there. That's what would happen now.
And I think we, in earlier discussions, correct me if I'm wrong, if they're trash, whether it's old junk vehicles or the guts out of the trailer or bags of trash, if they stay on that property, then that's their baby. The only time that it would become an issue to the county would be if it's leaving their property and going on to someone else's property at that point.
Yeah.
I believe is that correct?
If it's
I see you
hazardous.
nodding your head. I believe that is the case on that, so.
From complaints that I've received about those particular lots. That neighbors are concerned about rats. There's tires galore out there. They are concerned about rodents and affecting their area as well.
And that's why we need to find the proof. Good, we'll make it happen.
Yeah, if I may, one of the chief concerns there is whether or not there's drainage. Even if the trash hasn't crossed the property boundary, if there is poisonous or toxic waste there of any kind, and it runs down into these people's
Sure.
wells and systems and so on, that's, people get really, and for good.
And the way we handle that's just like we did out at the Indian reservation issue, when we had the offal that was dumped and it was oozing across the road.
Right.
Can make soil samples, et cetera. Okay. Thanks, Dorothy.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, so report wise, that gets back to this, not the sanitarian now. Dorothy's gonna have to step into the Watts hat.
Yep. And sorry I get this done to you and sent to you online, but. The reason why I'm asking for us to make some adjustments or changes to our outs regulations for Custer County is that a lot, and I'll get you a copy, I just don't know if I have enough. We don't do any, can I sit up here just so I can
Sure.
track what I'm doing?
Yeah, put your stuff on the table.
Left my notes over there.
You want your notes?
Keith caught me. No, that's okay. I'll wing it. We'll read it today. Currently, we only test or certify our, outs installers. In this manual, this is our regulations. It does talk about certifying our soil analysis individuals. Have no record of us ever doing that. It also talks about us regulating or certifying our septic pumpers. Have no file on any septic pumpers in our county, in our office. So we haven't been doing that. And the way that it's written in here, I don't know that we could follow that. So I'm making recommendations that what I've handed you is training that's available. That's nationally accepted and accepted through the state of Colorado. That we have our, our installers and, contractors, technicians, whatever you want to call them, have them start going through this type of process. The only testing they would do through us is maybe a 10-question test that would encompass things that are specific to Custer County, that is up above and beyond the state regulations that we've deemed in this packet that we've deemed is necessary for our county. An example is that we regulate that they use Schedule 40 pipe for all their piping. So that's just one example. So I'm kind of looking at this, that it's going to give our residents the opportunity to go online if they go through these courses. It gives them the opportunity to go online and see that the individual that they've chosen to do the work is certified, has some kind of training, knows what they're doing. And I've talked to several of the septic installers. I talked to Pat, who's Pat and Rye, who is Rye Septic. He's all for pushing everything this way. I've talked to several of like I said, the installers. Most of the people that are in our county doing the work are already certified.
Right.
This is also going to allow us to make sure that the people doing the work in our county get continuing education. Because most of this certification, you have to go back for a revised, a smaller course than what you originally have to go through. It's condensed. But say it's 1 day instead of 2, but every 2 or 3 years, you have to go back and be recertified with a more condensed course.
Custer County specific you're talking about. Of course.
This would be through, it's online.
Let me run the scenario.
Okay.
When an installer takes the test and gets certified by you. Yeah, test, and he certifies, has a certificate, it shows he's a certified installer.
Mhm.
And that's a list that you have in your office for people to see when they want to see a list of installers.
Right.
And then, but we don't have a list of pumpers or a list of, what was the other thing? You brought up?
Inspectors.
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 Or the,
are big one.
It's the, used to be a perk test, but now there's a test for the
soil.
soil analysis.
Yes.
And we don't have a list of those either.
We have a list of them, Bill, but
But
we
they,
don't.
but do they have the certification they can
Right.
show you?
I don't have anything to show that they.
Well, that's what
actually
I'm
went through
asking.
that.
So that's what
Yeah.
you would do is all the Custer County recognized soil analysis people
Mhm.
should be able to show you a certificate where they got the thing,
Correct.
right? That's all you're gonna ask for right now. And if they don't have it, then you're gonna propose take an update
What I
course
would-
that you'll put together.
Yeah, I don't know. All the people doing the soil analysis have given me something.
Okay, so they're
straight
certified.
up,
Okay, that's
But-
what I was asking.
But I think it needs to be in our regulations that they have to be certified
Okay.
through this organization or
Or something.
something
That-
equivalent to that.
equivalent.
If somebody can
Okay.
come up to me with something better, I'm open to that, but I haven't found anything
Okay.
better than what this is.
Okay.
I've taken several of the courses myself, gone to the conference with this organization, and the national organization was there as well. I wouldn't recommend it if I didn't think that it would
No,
make sure that we're servicing our
so what
citizens
would you
better.
do to get started? I'm just trying to get the process.
Yeah,
Right
sure.
now, you haven't got proof from any of them. They just showed you a certificate.
Yeah, for the most part,
So you're gonna make them
some
take
of them
the
we do,
test
some
all
of them we
over
don't.
again, every one of them.
I think we would have to ask them, are you certified? Maybe we say, within the next year, you all have to be certified if you perform this particular
Okay.
function. I can tell you most of our installers are already certified.
That's
The
good.
pumpers, I don't know. The inspectors, I don't know that anybody's gone through the inspector training that's on here. Anybody that I know of that does the work in our.
Questions?
Yeah, so I'm gonna reiterate, tell me if I'm wrong. You're proposing that installers, inspectors, pumpers, soil analysis go through this NAWT
Yes,
training and provide that certification to your office. And then I think I heard you say early on that you would simplify your tests that you give to a shorter test specifically to Custer County regulations. Is that
yes, sir.
okay? And then they need to provide this to be on, say, the installers list that you provide to everybody,
Mhm.
or also for the soil analysis. So yeah, if you provide, somebody needs that. Probably an installer, if they're not a soil analysis person, would already have the list, they would go to for somebody to do the analysis, right? Okay.
And I can validate at any time, a citizen could go on and validate that particular person doing their work is
I
certified.
mean, verify.
They can
Look,
verify it online.
We're just looking to see who's actually certified.
Yeah.
So you just told me that that's good. There's no reason why that wouldn't be a good thing to do. We would have to have you propose the process and then we bring it to the board to adopt.
Okay.
In a vote.
So a separate.
Yeah.
Okay, so I put the changes in the
Okay.
my proposed house
Okay,
regulations.
before you do that.
Okay.
And then you told me in the same time, everybody, as far as you know, is certified. As that.
In some things, for this, we were talking about soil analysis.
Yeah,
We
I'll
have very
take each
few.
class separately.
Yeah.
So core category, I should say, soil analysis, installers, pumpers, etc. So with that, so in their process that you're gonna propose, in order to get it started, you'd have to say X, Y, and these guys are all good, except they need a little course in what Custer County is. Cause you just said they were all verified that they were pumpers or inspectors. See what I'm saying?
Well, I think,
Or you're saying, we're gonna start from scratch and we're gonna make everybody take the test to begin with.
I think we need to.
Well, that's,
They
you just,
need
so
to
you're saying two
within
things.
within a year.
Okay,
Okay,
so point is, come to the board with that exact proposal. And how you're gonna outline that, so that we can decide, then we can decide. If it is necessary, if somebody can show you that he just got certified.
then they would not.
One
need to.
before, but that'd have to be included in the process that you're gonna put on record, so people understand how they're gonna comply with our regulation. The people that are installers, soil analysts, people, pumpers.
Okay.
Does it make sense? I'm trying to
It
keep
does,
simple.
so in addition to this, I would need to put together
That's
just a little
right.
process that says. To the contractors or technicians, this is, Custer County is changing the way we're certifying. Here's within the next year, for example, please provide blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
And I think most of them will be able to provide that. And it'll, in talking to some of the contractors, it kind of open their mind up to say, hey, I'm gonna go take that course or additional courses. And it was very much accepted
Good.
as a suggestion idea.
And you said you had this provided in that proposed.
Yeah, in the
Did you have it
changes,
listed as, say, over a year's time or?
I don't, because I didn't put the process in the actual
Yeah, you got it.
regulations, because it would be going forward. Anybody.
Or it
knows.
points to a document that you can hand out as the process.
Yeah, and I would,
Something like that.
if this is accepted, I would like to have meetings with the different types of contractors to go over what the expectations are. I don't think it's anything different than what they're doing. There are some things in here that we haven't been doing that we need to start.
If this is the way we want her to go, and if we want her to bring us a process, I think maybe she should know that we would be supporting this and not have her make that up. Not knowing if we supported this.
Well, that's why we're asking her to come forward with until we know what we're
Well-
supporting, we gotta know what our whole program is.
Well, right now, what she
And
brought
modify it.
was
I think it's a good idea.
making them over a year's time become certified in this. I think we could probably, couldn't we, Bill, approve that for her to move forward with that, because we approved that we want her to move in this direction and for her to bring us the process at next month's meeting to approve the process or not.
Next meeting. That's what I'm proposing, Kevin. You're exactly right on. We have to see what we're approving. We understand what your intent is. And it sounds like a good idea because things change in Custer County. We may want to schedule 52 pipe or double pipe it in X areas that have not ever been done. Things like that.
And this is what I am proposing. I just don't have a timeline down.
Okay.
So this is the exact training that they would go on and take. And we have a copy of the actual form they fill out. Most,
See that?
I'd say 90% of the training is now you can take online. That's one reason why I've been kind of dragging my feet to propose this, because I didn't want to make our contractors have to go to Greeley or to any other town up north
So-
to take these courses.
Right.
They're
I'll
almost.
make it clear about just reading the installer. The installer class is a nationally recognized class developed to provide training, testing, certification of individuals. So it's a class to certify them.
Mhm.
You present it as a refresher course. If they've are already an active installer, it's not tailored, so you're gonna sit there in the whole class and come out of it.
I guess what I was referring to was if I have currently taken this class, which I have,
Mhm.
in 2 years, I have to redo it.
Okay,
I have to take a refresher
Okay,
course. So
okay.
instead of a 2-day course, it's a 1-day course online.
okay, so you're gonna have to get with all the installers and figure out how current they are, or they, not the installers necessarily, but the inspectors or whatever. And then
If
that
we
will
decide.
determine what the course that you're gonna recommend they start with, whether it's a refresher or whether it's a full-blown certification.
And that's if we decide to go this direction.
That's what I'm asking.
Yes, that's what I would
So
do.
you would have, so propose that just like that. It's not clear. You just pointed out you want to take this class. You just pointed out there's two processes. If they're certified recently, they take a refresher course or something.
Well, they know
less-
that because they took that course and that national organization or state organization tells you right away when you take that course,
Yeah.
in order to continue to be certified, you have to
If
take
they
the
are,
refresher
right.
course in 2
But the
years.
Custer County installers haven't taken that class recently necessarily. It's an
A lot
installer.
of them.
That's right. Some of them have. So that's just part of the process. I'm just trying to clarify what you're asking. Makes sense to any.
So we have some installers that are already doing this and keeping this up, some that aren't.
Correct.
And if we would move to this, we just need them to either show it to us or we're now going to require them to go and do this training, so there will be no necessarily grandfather clause in if you've already been an installer for 20 years, within the county, that doesn't.
And-
that doesn't
and-
work for us.
See, the problem is you just now are in the process of issuing new licenses. I got mine. Right, so now either we grandfather them and they 2 years show a refresher course, or you're gonna say, go take the refresher course.
They wouldn't qualify to take a refresher course if I haven't already taken the initial course to get
That's my
certified.
point.
The refresher course is basically just to keep your license, to keep your certification
Okay, so
with,
after you've
national.
issued the new licenses this year, are they good until the next year then?
yeah, I would say we would need to give them a certain amount of
There you go. See,
time.
now you're talking.
I thought it, we would need to give them a certain amount of time to go take that course, to show that they were certified.
And your proposal here is to move everything to the NAWT certification.
With the exception of a small test that's administered in our office for the installers. Because there's certain things in this packet that
Or
there's
specific
not,
to
yeah,
Custer
it's specific to Custer County.
County. Okay, I understand that.
From an installer standpoint.
Right now, we hand them a 100 question test,
Right.
100 points, and it's a bear. It's, this test isn't easy either, this class, but it teaches them a lot more than just sitting and memorizing this document and the state document. I mean, I've had contractors come in that have gone through the national testing and have their national certification, but right now we still make them test. They can't pass it. That's how, it's a tough test, but a lot of that doesn't apply.
Mm.
When you sit and you go through that test and you think, okay, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna install the system. Some of it talks about consistency of soil and things like that. I get that from the person that does my soil analysis. So that test is, a lot of it I'll never use, I
Right.
guess is the best way to put it.
Out of the NAWT.
You know, the test we currently,
Current test.
the current test that we administer in my office.
They don't stay current on because they don't use it.
And we never retest, we never make sure they, there's. This,
So you're gonna make a specific retest that would be tailored to
I wouldn't know.
that.
Oh. If somebody were to come in, say I never did install in my. Here,
You do it.
they would have to show me this certification. Plus take a 10 or so question test
Okay.
that's specific to our regulations.
Okay.
That would
That's amazing.
certify them as an installer.
Peggy, did you have a point?
Nursing kind of does this, and nurses can renew every 4 years. We're all renewing at different times. So what employers do is they just say, by this date of every year, you have to show that you are current. Current by certification on this date every year.
Yeah.
So that just means they bring their certificate in once a year and show you that they're current.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to worry about this, who's been to initial class, who's been to a research class. They just have
That's
to
what
bring
has
their
to be clear to the guy
certificate.
when they have to take the research. You need to understand that.
And I wouldn't regulate that. It would be regulated through here. It's gonna take a lot off of.
Okay, as
off
long
of
as,
me.
as long as.
They know, it's like Dora, when you have to go
Like
on
Dora.
and make sure you're certified, you got that license, how, when it's gonna expire. You don't want it to expire.
Right.
So they're gonna go retake whatever
Nobody wants to take the
qualification,
test over.
right? They're gonna
I
go
know.
take a 1-day course rather than, or a 4-hour course rather than a 12-hour course.
All right, so
Makes sense.
make it happen, how you're gonna do it. Come back and give us the program.
I almost, if we're wanting her to move this direction, I would almost want to make a motion.
It-
To approve her moving this direction and to bring us the process to approve.
We can, it's the same thing, though, we're right now, she's starting. We know we
So-
want to have something to look at so we can approve it.
Do we as a county want to move towards the NAWT certifications?
Well, it's more than just that, and it's the program itself. And you're gonna, yeah, and
Basically, it comes down to, we're wanting to require them all to have NAWT certifications. So if we want to move that direction,
I think the
then
refresher
I
piece
would,
of it,
I would go for that and then have her bring us that. Give them the year to do it. And then that there is an additional test for the installers. And put that down and that they have to show you the current certifications. Let's make them prove it every year that they're certified.
is that certification good for 4 years?
It just
do they know?
depends on what it is.
What's an installer test? Tell me
Okay,
what
the
it is.
installer is good for 2 years and then they
Okay.
have to recertify.
With a
Most
sport
of them are
class.
2 years. It's 2-day course for the installer. It's a 2-day course. I took it from home. I was able to sit
This is
there.
the
and do the
refresher
class.
course.
Nope, this is a full-blown get certified.
Right.
A refresher
What's the
course,
thing
I
there?
believe, is half that amount of time. I haven't taken
Yeah.
a refresher course.
If that's the case. We should probably vote that that's what we want them to do. We want to adopt this or not.
And then she. can
Then we
come
gotta
back
have a
with
process
with
that
the
we'll agree with.
process and then all we have to do is approve the process. And you're not working all of that process work, not knowing if we're even gonna approve you going that direction. So I think we need to approve going that direction. Yay or nay, so she knows whether to put down the
Well,
processes.
before we do that, then have we had a problem? What's the problem? Are there people that aren't certified? Do we know?
Well, part of the problem is we haven't been following this forever that I know of. I couldn't find any documentation of any pumper being certified.
So
And for me to go out and test a pumper, I have not
That's-
taken a pumper
that's-
course. I'm not qualified.
So, but you can ask whether he did, right? We can follow it by asking for it, can't we? I mean, you gotta start somewhere. So are you gonna ask them to, or are you just gonna say, pretend they don't have it, you're gonna make them take the course to begin with, or are we gonna make them take the refresher course?
I don't think we're talking about the same thing.
Well, you said we've never followed it. What haven't we followed?
The
Looking for a
process that's, the
certification.
process that's put in place here to test pumpers.
Okay,
We don't test them right now. That we don't ask them for any kind of certification, nothing. We have people coming into our county pumping. They're taking the waste places. We don't know where they're dumping it. In here, it says they should be providing me with some kind of
Okay, so
documentation, but
did you
we're not
ask 'em?
doing that.
did you ever ask them for a documentation?
I did, and I was told, I've offered to give you that 3 years ago, and I was told you didn't need it. So
Okay,
I'm not trying to
All right, so
point them.
I'm taking, Dorothy, I'm trying to take it in 2 steps.
Okay.
I like, if we're not following that, let's figure out what we have to do to follow it. So the first thing you ought to be doing then is follow that, ask them for the certifications. That way you have an opportunity then to say, what course do you need next? If they can't produce it, then they need to take the full thing. If they've got a document that says I have a certification, then they need to start working the refresher piece of what you want.
There's some in here, the inspectors, for example, that we don't ask anything for. So I'm just,
Okay, then that's what you're gonna put in there for us to update that with, that we're gonna start asking for those certifications on other things, right?
yes,
Okay,
And this is only one piece of your proposed outs changes, correct?
yes.
So
That's
do
the
we address this
majority.
Separately, or do we address all of the outs?
yeah, did you wanna update that first and then?
I
follow?
don't, I really don't wanna, I've done a lot of suggested changes in here and I attempted to present them the last time. I've added even more after having more time to
Okay.
look at it and doing a lot of talking with our current contractors and looking at what the state and the national training has to offer. Most of the changes I'm recommending in here have to do with this, but it's not ready for publication by any means because I'm gonna literally have to rewrite this, type up this whole thing because of the old format it's in. But it's a lot easily
Okay,
more readable
makes sense.
for you to see what changes I'm recommending. One of the things that I'm adding in here, I'll just give you an example, is that if somebody comes in and they pump tanks in our county, that they show us once a quarter where they're dumping. They show me a receipt where you're dumping that,
okay, that's not in there now.
Yeah.
Right,
not that
That's one of the
specific.
proposed
that's right,
changes.
so we need to probably do that first, don't you think? To me. And then if we're gonna follow it, there's no reason to not start asking today for a certain guy's pumper certification, that following what we already have in print. Right,
Not really,
why?
because, well,
And they say ask.
a pumper, for
prove it.
example, the state and NAWT just published or put
Okay.
out the training for a pumper. Before this, there was no training for them, so it's new, but
Okay, so they're not, they don't have any certifications at all to show anybody?
I don't
Pumper,
believe so, not the
okay.
pumpers.
Okay,
Unless they went to installers training, which would make them
Okay,
that
now-
much better at what they're doing, repair training, things like that.
So
That's
right now,
one
I could buy a
example.
truck and I could just start pumping stuff.
Yep.
without knowing anything.
As long as I know how to pull the cover off, and stick the hose down and.
Yep.
Pump it out.
I think that hose suck.
Yeah.
Most,
You want-
most, cities have their own, like I've been calling around, most counties, have their own certification process. We have not been doing anything in that area.
It's
So-
because we don't have the staff to do our own permitting process. Or the technology, or the training classes, or the test sites.
Other than we do have,
We're using a nationally recognized. Certification to, hey, if you go through this, this is what we're gonna accept and this is what we're gonna use. Cause we don't to put this in-house would cost. And it cost us a bunch of money.
And most counties are going to this.
Sure.
Or already have been doing it for quite some time.
And
the only test we do is the installers test it is more than what is needed.
Yes.
right, so that would go away, other than we would have something specific to our own zoning things. Both from an installer and from an inspector standpoint, correct? There wouldn't just be installers.
It's just installers. That's the only test we have that's specific to our county.
Okay,
I can look and see if that's something we need to consider from the other.
well, then let's go, so we can move along here. I think she needs to clean that up. She needs to present the rewrite, so we know what we're gonna institute so that we can and adopt exactly what you're saying. If you present the rewrite of that, you like you said, it's gonna point to the NAWT, right?
Okay, the only thing I don't have down here for you guys is to say. If you're already certified, you have a year to recertify, if we choose that year being that time frame,
Okay,
and you need to supply it to us. What else do I need
well,
to?
we haven't read that yet. How can we approve it if we haven't seen what you've changed?
Okay,
We can't.
I,
So I would say that you make the presentation.
can we
Before
do
we,
that?
before we vote on it, we have to read it and understand it. We don't have time right now because we didn't plan on that today.
I thought we did. I thought I had it on the agenda, so.
What's it say?
Just counting out the proposed changes.
Uh,
Um,
Is that what you meant by that? That you
If-
wanted to present that and have us adopt the changes? If it's not a consideration. Under new business, it would be, we're gonna vote on.
Okay.
This was presented as a report, so it looks like you're ready to present it.
Okay.
Is that,
you know, when you sent those to us before. But you said you've changed them some since then.
I have.
Yeah.
I added.
if you wanna have a special meeting, if you're in a hurry to do this, we
I
can do
would,
that.
I would really like us to start moving in this
So,
direction.
Then, well, I think we're in agreement, but we gotta get it formally done.
So
So,
we can't make a. Can you make a decision? Can you vote?
we need something
In a
to
special
consider
meeting.
when we haven't read it.
We can vote.
Yeah,
I thought we.
a special meeting. We'll just have a meeting that specifically goes over that. You see how long it took us to do the zoning ones.
Right.
This is similar. We're gonna look at your proposed, here's why we're gonna do this. It'll go quicker because it's not that in depth. Same
This shouldn't
process.
take that long.
So if you got all your additional changes and everything in there now, if you could send those to us, I think that would be good. So we can look them over.
And then we'll schedule a meeting, we could do it in a couple weeks if we wanted to.
Yeah.
Do it at a mid-month meeting, because the end of the months are tight.
We're gonna do the 17th. It's a couple weeks from now.
Okay.
This is a special board of health meeting, we'll do it. And then it'll be here.
At 1:30.
Yeah.
You'll be done with your CIC training by then.
And I'll put that on the schedule.
Yeah, he will.
1:30
Your
would be-
admin job is over. I think it's a good idea.
BOH.
Okay, next up, thank you, Dorothy. Is Board of Health report. And so You don't have anything that we're gonna vote on, do you? Because you don't have it lined out that way.
Yeah,
Dorothy, thank you.
Yeah.
It's strictly information.
Okay,
The hard copies that I handed out to you. I'm not sure that you want to, yes, review all those, but I think I printed them off for you so that you would have kind of, or get kind of a feel how we kind of stack up with the counties around us, even if they're 10 times the size, they're not 150 times the size like Pueblo.
okay, so what, in the interest of time and get the good point across is give us what we want us to take away from this.
You do very well.
And it's specifically to what? Specific to COVID or specific?
No, this is all
Okay,
aspects of
good.
public health.
That's why I wanted to
Okay,
get on the record.
and that is a state document. You can actually go online and look it up yourselves if you want to, and compare us with other counties if you want to. But what I gave you was, like I said, something that is that we usually use to kind of test the water, see how we're doing and how we're not doing.
Okay,
See if there are any glaring errors. There are blanks in there, and I explained that, but there are blanks in there, where we do not have enough people, enough instances of certain death or a certain type of disease or wastewater problems or whatever, that it's just left blank for us because we really haven't had.
or other counties too. I
Yes,
think.
yes, exactly. But this is something you can read over at your, and kind of peruse and evaluate at your own discretion.
So there's nothing that
There's nothing-
flags this out of the norm for,
No,
like
no.
across the counties, you see,
No.
life expectancy and similar.
Right, exactly. But I just wanted to give you that so that if people ask you, because they do ask us, but if they ask you, you can respond with some degree of alacrity.
Yeah, like mental distress, for example, we're the same as all of them,
Right,
15%.
right,
And it's 15% of what?
15% of the county.
Population, the total population, 4,500 people roughly, whatever it is.
Yeah, 5,035, whatever we're quoting to us today.
Good.
Okay, so moving right on, the serious illnesses. I think I've sent you enough of these things that you are noticing that they're about the same every time. We've not had a death assigned by the official departments as COVID related or COVID caused deaths. We've had nothing since December, early December. So that has pretty well, to use a terrible phrase, died down. So we've had a total from March of 2020 through today, we've had a total of 31 serious illnesses resulting in death. And that's by the statistics provided to us by the Vital Statistics Program for the state.
Okay, good.
Now, another indication that the pandemic, quote unquote, that title that was assigned to this has pretty well gone away, is that they have now, the state even has canceled its epidemiological services that is counting, that were counting in the past. Those who were seriously ill, those who were minusculely ill, those are being tested, those are being vaccinated, so on. We will no longer have supporting epidemiological services unless we request, and I requested. So we will still have verifiable data outside of what is reported directly to us, if anybody asks for it. But it gives us a feel of how things are going, if something does come up.
Mhm.
If there is a disease that presents itself and we start having lots of sick people. And we can trace back then and determine if it's actually an epidemic or if lots of people went to Walmart in Point Vista or something. What the source is of the disease. The next one is the opioid governance council, and Lucas, you are on that with me. We're going to be having a meeting here fairly quickly. I think within a week, 2 weeks, something like that. Anyway, the anti-stigma campaign and the whole governance council work toward eradicating or at least calming the opioid misuse and abuse and making use of those monies to affect health trends, not more and more sickness trends. We keep receiving more and more money, more and more funds as the various court orders damning, so to speak, the companies that made so many billions of dollars on opioids. Patrick Fiore has stepped up to the plate on this, as is Lucas and myself. So we are all involved. We have 3 voting members on all decisions that are made on that council. And we do meet and are continuing to develop programs.
Nothing worth not worth mentioning. What's the latest?
Yeah, we really do not have. We're actually seeing a slight decrease, but not overall, not throughout the country. So because the people who are making or the concerns that are creating these pharmaceuticals now for a lot of the kids. As I had explained to you, I think before, they keep changing the other ingredients. So it's not just fentanyl, it's not this
Right.
whatever. And it intensifies the effect of fentanyl. And so we have young people dying because they go to the parties and they say, oh, let's just take these pills and see what it does. And some of them die. In fact, quite a few of them die. So that is the point to this whole mission, is that we take away the stigma that anybody's having a problem, or even if they don't see it as a problem, if they're starting to get a little curious, like kids do, all of us did, and start to think about getting involved, or if they're under high emotional stress levels, families breaking down, their friends are phoning them online, bullying and calling them fatty or stupid or something, you know.
Okay.
That they will not be so embarrassed to walk in and talk to
Right.
the mental health.
Okay.
council.
Good.
So that's that one. Our star pupil here, Peggy.
AEDs, okay.
All right, Peggy.
So we have, best that I can determine, outside of the sheriff's department, 11 AEDs located in county facilities. 2 of them brand new, one at the airport, one at the landfill, have been purchased and started to use. Up running, working great. 3 are in Wetmore. I have not inspected yet. Out of the other 6, 5 of them were not operational. 5 of them either had outdated pads or batteries that didn't work. That is concerning to me, because this is a piece of life-saving equipment that when I go to inspect it, doesn't work. So I think this is a really important program. I started expanding it now to some of our Valley nonprofits. We just installed a new battery and leads for the library. Search and rescues, they have elected to purchase their own replacement pads instead of going through our vendor. So I'm hoping that theirs will get operational. Neither of theirs were operational, that they will get operational soon. I mean, we're getting pads that are outdated by 2 years. These things have a gel surface to them, and that gel dries out. That's the reason why there's a 2-year expiration date on them. So if I buy pads today, they're gonna probably expire sometime in 26. And I'm finding pads from 2020, 2021. The probability that those things are gonna work is slim to none. Just throwing that out there, guys. I have another $1,000 worth of stuff to help county entities buy supplies, and I will keep you posted every month. And like I said, moving into our nonprofits in town, gonna start looking at the churches and
Okay.
just did the library and some of the other agencies. I mean, I don't personally, this is my soapbox. I don't see a lot of sense in us having an AED if it's not gonna work when we need it.
Right, so, and nobody will disagree with that. So you mentioned 5.
5 out of 6
Are they
that I
good?
tested.
Are they getting fixed?
They have all been fixed.
Okay. Yeah, and so now,
Except, no, I'm sorry, SARS, Search and Rescue wanted to do their own ordering, so I don't know if those are fixed or not.
so the bottom line is you're concerned because they're wearing out quicker
Mm-mm.
or
I'm
drying.
concerned because nobody's getting these things looked at, and I inspected 5 at the school.
Well, okay, let me re-ask the question then, because I looked at
Okay.
the public health department taking on the AED program as the people that would be wanting to make sure they're current. So what do we need to do to make sure people are inspecting them?
Well, I only work 1 day a week, limits my ability to inspect. I haven't had any problems really with county entities until I got to Search and Rescue.
Okay,
Because they did not want to go through our vendor, and I'm not really sure why, because our vendor priced at $30 a pack of pads less than what theirs did.
well, they're paying for it, that's
They're
fine,
paying for
but
it,
they're still,
exactly.
we still want to make sure they follow and keep
So-
current.
I will follow up with them. The lady who supervises that or is over that piece is on vacation until mid-April. I will follow up with her. But just so you know, we're trying to get these, but till you get them inspected and you get stuff ordered and you get it installed and recheck it. Working 1 day a week, it takes a little while to
Okay,
get all that
so you
done.
got 4 you can do yourself and the others search and rescue of the 5.
Yes. The one at the courthouse was fine.
Good.
Kudos to the courthouse.
Good. If you're gonna have a heart attack, go to the courthouse.
Yeah, the county, well, no, the airport is a good place and the landfill.
You
is
got that,
brand
those, you
new.
got those new.
I
Okay,
believe you said 3 in Wetmore.
I have not been down to Wetmore to inspect the
I've
plant
got-
yet.
I'm gonna say there's 2 at the fire station.
There's one in the community building.
Is there just 1 at the community building now? We used to have 2, but
Two
we
in
were
the
gonna,
community building, one in the fire station, is what I was told.
there's 2 at the firehouse and
Okay.
there's 1 at the county shop.
The
And 1 at the county shop, I would
is
say,
with Road and Bridge,
yes.
already been inspected. That
Okay.
was fine.
Cause I think the last time I looked, the battery was red instead of green, but,
Well, they have a new battery. I was told they put it in.
I'll go
But
by and
maybe I
check.
need to go down and make sure they put it in.
I'll go by and check for you, cause I go down that way.
sometimes you wanna inspect,
So,
people do what the
Uh,
commander inspects,
yeah.
now what do you expect?
the firehouse is not a county entity,
Okay, so I
down
won't worry
there.
about that one.
Ruth remembered that
Because-
she was checking on those, because I had contact
Yeah,
with her,
and-
so.
we used to bring those up to the sheriff's office to get taken care of, or the clinic. Because we could get in on their stuff, because we're not a tax district down there. That's why we're not a special district and we're not a county entity.
Strictly volunteer.
Oh, for the
So-
community building?
No,
No,
this
for
is
the
for the
fire.
fire
Oh, for
departments,
the
for
fire
those 2 that
department.
we have on our trucks down there, so. But I don't know, honestly, I was not there this last month to the meeting, so I don't know what the status of those 2 are, but I'll check on those 2, but I'll check the road and bridge to make sure that they put that battery in.
Cool.
But that is why we're checking, because we've learned not to trust.
Well, that's right, you mentioned that
Yeah.
last time, so let's keep it.
That's
All
right.
right, well, let's keep going, Custer County Public Health Agency Community Activity, Sarah.
Do you want to do the EPR stuff first? I mean, I can.
We can do it, go ahead.
Okay, so we had our first official event. We had hospice event prior. To kind of trial this. This is our replacement for the health fair. So these are smaller educational bi-monthly events that we partnered with the library on. And so we thought, our first one would be meet and greet your public health and figure out what the heck we do. So this is a copy of our presentation. Due to some advertising issues, it wasn't as well attended as the prior event. So the hospice, we had 12. Yesterday's we only had 4, so chalk it up to weather and but the 4 that did attend, we had great interaction. We got some feedback during the meeting and kept some of their comments so that we can better build the next events moving
So was
forward.
it published in the paper last week? That was gonna be this week?
So it got published in one paper, but not the other paper. So, we've got funding. I've talked to our fiscal grant manager. We've got some funding that we could utilize, moving
Make sure
forward.
everybody
for this.
advertise.
Exactly. So that is the most current that we did. We have our next event coming up. We've partnered with Envision Good Health, April 20th. So we will be helping run the kids portion of this event. They did not have a children's portion prior to this, but the gals that run this kind of extended out. And so we partnered up and we are going to have some live animals. So bring the kiddos out. It's going to be wonderful. And we'll be kind of doing lessons on social emotional well-being, nutrition, and how it affects, the body stress level at the children's level. So we can teach them young on how to manage the stress because some of us adults are still learning. So but yes, please come. It's going to be wonderful. Pines Ranch has been very accommodating, and they would really like to see more local community events hosted at their location. So if you guys think of anything, please reach out to Tracy. She's wonderful. And then the last event, we have an art club coming up in April. So I hosted this art club with a teacher last year. It's through Rebecca's Fund. This year, she and I are doing it again and hoping to expand. And we'd like to include some public health topics to encourage social emotional well-being. Again, things like nutrition, environmental impact, and things like that in a fun setting while doing art. So we're going to be at Greenstone. So from April, the end of April until mid-June. So it'll be every Thursday.
Good.
If I may comment on that, a lot of psychological and
Very good.
psychiatric testing with kids is done when you have them draw pictures, because they express things they don't want to talk about, they don't want to put into words, but you see it in the family pictures. So it's a useful tool, not just out there scribbling with the
Good idea.
pens.
Absolutely. And we have a website too. If you guys would like to see it, I can pull it up for you. So let me know. We're also going to be participating on Senior Day. That is August 20th. At the library. So we will be providing adult immunization consults, blood pressure screenings, pulse ox screenings, and things like that to help our seniors in our community. And Air Fest. Yep, in August. So we will be there attending with AD supplies and water bottles. And so for the vision grant this year, I wrote in for extra money to promote eye health in the way of sunglasses protection. So thankfully to somebody's expertise, we found that to be a need, and things at public events like Family Fun Day or the Air Fest where kids are, outside or looking up, they need to protect their eyes. So we've got some grant money to hand out free sunglasses. So it's gonna be awesome.
Okay, those little cardboard ones for the people that are gonna be looking at the sun for the eclipse.
He's got some of those too.
Yeah, it depends on what's inside the cardboard. Yeah, actually, the kids, because their pupils tend to be much larger and their lenses that concentrate, so help filter out the ultraviolet before it hits the retina where it does the permanent burn. That lens, if you've had cataract surgery and had the lens removed, you don't have that filter, or if you're a child, you have nice clear lenses, you have lots to open, but the opening is so big and big with a kid that it doesn't take more than a very, very brief glance looking at a partial eclipse, and that's all we have here. As you saw the track going from the northeast down through the middle of Texas, we don't have total eclipse here, and I'm afraid, I've talked to the radio station and so on, but man, there's propensity for tremendous damage, and that damage does not go away. So if anybody asks.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Sarah. That was good.
Yeah, I had to ask that question because when I was at the library in Wetmore, they had a stack of the dark cardboard colored glasses for the Eclipse or out on their front desk, so.
Is it, are those the same glasses? They're not. Are they sunglasses or Eclipse?
This is just,
With polarized
yeah,
glasses.
not,
Then there's the Eclipse glasses that you've got.
that's right.
Okay,
You can also use the number 14 welding glass.
right.
I mean, it looks almost black, but
Yeah.
don't please, like some of my nurses in the hospital, said, oh, I'll just look at it through X-ray film.
Okay, good.
No, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
For them and everybody else.
Okay.
I got it in mind.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah. All right, so you got that, then,
The
Lee
EPR
is, you got Lee's stuff. Are you doing that?
Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Our grant deliverables are totally on track. We're doing things that been done very well. There's a lot of work in need for the Colorado Emergency Preparedness Assessment. Bill, you attended that,
Mhm.
and Lucas, you also did. There are many things that the county really needs to get going on, and that brought it to light, which was the purpose of the tabletop in the first place. So you learn where the holes are when you start looking. And that's why. So we also have, we've run into a roadblock of paying the bills because we haven't had money, because our credit card was so divested of its limits for a while. And now we're getting things back up, but it set us behind a little bit in being able to purchase. It's not that we don't know what we need to purchase, not that it hasn't been okayed by the grants. It's just, we didn't have any.
You know the instrument.
Right, exactly. So apologize for that. I was hoping to be able to bring down our trailer and our van, but those two things were.
Well, if you want to catch up, we could do it on the special meeting. If you
Yeah,
think
And I would,
it's necessary.
as soon as I have it here, what I'll do is let you guys know and invite you out for a visitation of
Okay.
third kind.
Okay, radon, that seems to be in the, or we got,
Let me.
before that, I'm sorry, you got MRC, I
first.
missed it.
In our small number of people who attended the class the other day, we got one guy who was like, I think he was EMS for 15 years, 13 years, something like this. Plus, he's been a volunteer fighter and been hired full time in the past as a fireman. So this helps for us and for our volunteers when we need to have somebody step up and help out when we have an emergency and all of a sudden we need all sorts of people. He is an excellent candidate and he volunteers.
So you have a list active list of who to call
Yes,
in
we
if
do.
there's an emergency.
Yes.
We actually had two, Kristen Tran also
Oh,
took a
Christy,
folder.
that's right. That's right. You too. So a man and a woman.
Mhm.
So we're talking about no racism or sexism here at all.
All
And
right,
she has military background
Yes.
experience, which is excellent.
Yeah, she was a nurse in flight medicine.
okay,
So, yeah, fantastic resource there. Okay, so, but we still need volunteers and just to let people know if they are watching the meeting at all, we could definitely.
well, and then
use
you
some-
wanna get that, keep that active,
Yes,
press releases or whatever.
Yeah.
Or tidbits.
yes, and we'll keep trying to bring it up. You know, as we need. Let's see, equipment. We have more and we are getting still more solar powered batteries. So we can run like generators, so that we can run telehealth communications or whatever in case of a massive emergency here in the county. So we're just trying to expand our capabilities. Questions on any of those things? We also are working on our agreements, for user agreements. When we need to have help, because we don't have a big county and we don't have all this really expensive stuff. Like Pueblo and some of the others, they have been very, very kind in agreeing to support us. not even a hesitation, just how much do you need, when, and so on. So that's very, very encouraging for us. But as you can see down here, under purchase CPR equipment, 4 portable gas generators, 4 battery units, stabilized gas extension cords, and putting in user agreements so that you do not have to develop things on the fly when you're in the middle of an emergency, which is just absolutely absurd to try to do. We do have, yeah.
You get that, Hannah?
mentioned.
On the one with the agenda, it'll be the third page.
Third page, missed it.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, I had 2 packages, one didn't, yeah.
March 27th.
Got it. Yeah, I got it.
In furthering our county's preparation, we actually have a tabletop exercise tomorrow. So anybody who wants to kind of check in and come in, it is a good learning experience and it will help you get kind of
Good.
an overall view and a specific view, focused down view of
Hey,
of what we need, what we don't have, and what we have to arrange for, because our county doesn't have the money to buy all that highly expensive. But
It's from 9 AM to noon and there will be food.
Well, I'm sorry, we could be there, but, Mr. Bill Kanda double booked us.
Sorry.
Oh, but he did turn off his phone.
Small consolation.
Yes, right.
Shit.
Yeah, at least it's not a constellation.
Just remember, I don't get mad, I get even.
Bring it on.
On radon. We've used up about 70 out of our 100 free test kits, but that means we still have 30 more. About 3/4, about 75% of the tests that have been done have come back high. For instance, our house it's supposed to be around 3.5, we say 14.5.
In the basement or up in the living room?
No, I usually do it where it's directly.
Right, as
coming out.
low as you
Yeah,
can.
yeah. Our, we hope that our fireplace is drawing enough air through that we're not too high in the living room or bedroom, whatever. Anyway,
But that's one test, right? That's not,
Yes.
it's not like it's multiple tests over
No.
the course of a period of time, so
No.
you can see a cop average
No.
or an
it
average.
it varies a lot when you have the doors and the windows open, of course, whether it
Sure.
collects.
Mhm.
But the tests that have been done several times have come out very, very close to each other.
Yeah.
Well, as long as there's not a lot of air exchange. But some of the guys, as it mentions down here, are 5 times the limit. So there's something to think about. That's why I think it's so important that we push. We have people who can't well afford to do all the piping and the venting and so on. But my recommendation that I'm going to be proposing is that we set aside for the people who find that they are high, that we set aside some matching funds so it will help the people who can't afford it and still need to have their kids safe.
To put the ventilation in.
Put the ventilation in.
There are some low income assistance programs through the state too that they offer, and we do advertise that. They give us some handouts, and so we've handed them out to like DHS, the library, and the clinic, so they each have a stand with all the information that you would need about the radon test and where to get them.
Since this is the second leading cause of lung cancer, to me, it's as important as sanitation.
Sure.
You know, water that's contaminated.
Yep.
So anyway, just thought, we're sending Lee over to Reno, not to hit the slots.
Mhm.
But on the 23rd and 24th, there is a big, national radon meeting for education. So I thought that was kind of high priority for us. Questions, gentlemen?
And tested mine because ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
I
I
spoke to several people that feel that way.
don't wanna know.
Well, my house is built on decomposed granite, so.
Oh, so it won't bother you at all, yeah. Right.
Okay, any, I've got an appointment here in 10 minutes or so. Anything else that you wanna make us
Yeah,
aware?
anytime you guys, any of you have questions or the public brings questions to you that they bring to us, please pass them along so we can address them.
Okay, and since you guys are the public, anybody online still,
Mr. Gilbert is,
if he had a question?
he does not have his hand raised.
Okay. Okay, any comments?
Next meeting is, I believe, May.
Yes, sir.
And then it'll be. I can't remember the specific.
Pick the well, I think the first one, didn't
Hmm,
The first meeting.
Well,
Would be
we're
when
trying to think.
Afternoon.
It is.
Yeah, it would
Wednesday,
be the
the-
second, it would be the first full week in May, probably. Because the first and second.
Wednesday, we doing first and second?
Okay, so it's the 27th of June is the next one.
That's the meeting, is that the next, is that what you have on the calendar?
Yeah, that's what happened.
All right.
27th of
June. Yeah,
June.
and that's a Thursday because that's, we can't do
That's
that Wednesday.
Wait, work day, yeah. Okay,
So,
So nothing in May.
so, we'll have Mike keep you current on the meetings, but get your stuff to him
yes.
and.
Yeah, you weren't here, but I really have submitted 4 different times.
Yeah, we got a lot of
Yeah,
circumstances nailed this.
We're gonna try to piece together some broken connections and
Thank you, sir.
not a problem.
Any other questions for this?
No, thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Thank you, good job, ladies and gentlemen. All right, with that, we'll adjourn the Board of Health meeting at 10 till 3.